Okay, hello, just gonna make this video about two D&D classes. Probably saw that from the title, or just looking at this image. So, let's get into this. So, first off, let's talk a bit about, why did I create these screens? Let's just go to the next one. Introducing the Puppeteer. Puppeteer's main power, they're puppets. I think that was pretty obvious. Different origins change different powers. Their origins are basically their start or such. Like, why did you do this? Why is there a puppet in your life? Finally, hit dice, D8, con. There is a new rule thing, but I'll get to that after I talk about the origins. First off, internship. You know what? I'll let you think about what this means. If it's this, these are chains. I speed through these. Each took like 5 minutes, though. So the hand didn't. Each of these drawings took like 5 minutes. But internship, I'll let you see about that. Each of them get to use chains with chain-based attacks. They were a puppet for a bigger company. Now they want to master puppets. Cool thing though, each of them get their chains. I'll just go through their stats and such. First off, AC. I'll tell you that later. But first off, distance from player can only be 60 feet. If any farther, then the puppet will completely deactivate. HP, 60 for the first 10 levels, each one a 6. Strength modifier, +3. Dex modifier, +1. Con modifier, +0. Something else, their hit dice mod plus will be equal for them, while the hit dice will not. The con plus will. I think that was pretty obvious. But charm, -1. Wisdom, +1. Con, or not con, intelligence +1. Sorry. Intelligence is just the most forgettable stat. Now, I think you can tell from this and the giant wand, it's a mage. Mage max is gonna be a 48 health. This will be for the first, I guess, it was just a random number I pulled from my head-ish. But if you really want to, I could say the first 8 levels. It could make them seem stronger than them in health, but probably isn't. Distance from person, though, is only 30. They're supposed to be ranged spellcasters, but they only go up to 3rd level. And their range only distance another 30 feet. Also, most of the time in places you will never have the field big enough to actually need to know how close you want to be in order to cast your spells. But you'll only really find that these guys go up to 3rd level, because you don't want them to be like spellcasters. I don't have a spell list for you. Just put all the basic spells in. They can use cantrips, but only 3 as a max. Each level, they do get 1 level of it. Something you should know. By level 3, for some reason, you only have level 2, and by level 4, again, only up to level 2. Only once you get to level 5, you really get into those 3rd levels. That's just me and wizards, but yeah. So, there isn't much else to the mage. I'll just go through their stats. Of course, you're gonna have your strength stat be -3, your dex stat be -1, or -1 or +1. Matters how stretched out you want them to look. Like, if you want them to look really stretched out, you can, like, debuff their HP to give them dex. Like, it's that HP to AC kind of thing. I know it's only 1 plus AC, but compared to -1 AC, it can be a pretty big difference. Then you have yourself your con stat, of course, +0. Your charm stat, I guess it could be a +0. +1 if it looks more human than this. But then you have yourself a +2 and a +3. +2 for wisdom, +3 for intelligence. Now for the last one, I will tell you distance after I tell you their special power, but let's get through the stats. HP will always be 6, or 6 plus their dex, which is 6, plus their con, but their con's a -1. You know what? Never mind. You get the point. It's a D6 for it. Then there is the part that is, well, their stats. I think you get the point. They have less than the mage. But, so, first stat, you get yourself a +3. Yes, you heard me correctly, a +3. I know that's the same for the wizard, but you're never really going to use your strength. Dex, -1, or sorry, for this, it's a +5. So, +5 for Dex, and then you have your Con, which is a -1, your Charm, which is, I guess, a +1, if you like those, Wisdom, -1, Intelligence, -1. Really bad stats almost all over the board. You see bad strength, but since they don't have spellcasting, that's actually something you could keep an eye on. But then there's the +5 to Dex. Pretty armored up, but like they're like if goblins had a lot of AC, or hobgoblins of sorts. They have pretty interesting stat points, but they're pretty easy to go by. Their AC for all of them is your AC, not a +10. Well, not a 10 to start off with, your AC, plus their dex. So, well, you could just upgrade your dex to upgrade theirs. It matters if you're all about keeping them untouched. If you're about keeping them untouched, then by all means go for a high dex build. This is basically your dex plus their dex +10 instead of just their dex +10. But let's talk about their special power. Now this will vary for distance. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to show it. Swamp. Now when you visualize a swamp, you think of a morphing object. Seriously. Like, when you think of a swamp, what do you think of? You think of algae, you think of the really green water with the trees, but you think of vines. That's where their design comes from. A ton of vines. This is a mask on it. This does take a lot from swamp benders, but isn't there? They have forms, and each one has its own form. It will take them an action to use said form. Now, to change said form, first form, healing form, loses all attack, isn't defensive at all, loses all AC, but pretty good healer. Heals 1d6 AC, or maybe if you want to be nice, your hit dice for lower classes isn't much of a difference, but for barbarians, that is just rude. That is just rude to your DM, or rude to yourself, since you're the one allowing this. Also really mean to your monsters, because if you have a barbarian, and you just, or two barbarians, oh god, you could have one being healed while the other's on the battlefield, and just switch them out each time you want to fight. Oh god, I'm just coming up with that now. That is dual barbarian tactics, just infinite HP on the full ground. One other thing, you have your flying minion. You can kinda see it with the wing here, with the green. Like, take out the rest of the extra green that looks like the cradle. That is their, sorry about my desk. That is their thing, their healing thing, the cradle there. Like, take out the light green and the mask, and you basically have most of your flyer, except for another wing. Something else, each of them get theirself a thorn attack. Healer loses its thorn attack to the wall. Talk about it later, loses its thorn attack. But, just want to say, because the flyer has it, basically, it flaps its wings, it has thorns on said wings. Those thorns get pushed off. So just spikes here and there. But they're basically your scouts or your flyers. Don't do much, but their distance is much farther. While the healer has to be at a small distance, you can choose, but I'd say from a 5 to a 15 distance, this winged can go to 120. You heard me correctly, 120. Pretty good scout. Like, if you're in a dungeon, I guess you could use these since they have the highest distance. And it's the only movable one other than its base form. In its base form, it basically loses all of its special powers and just gains the thorns. And just moves like normal. Has a 60-foot distance, less movement. It's basically its worst form. But if you want to, you can winged form into a different room in a dungeon. So what if it's destroyed? You have 20 more. It's not a joke. You gain one of these per level. Yes, you heard me right. Not just with this guy, but with the others. You could make it cool where these guys regenerate on a short rest. Or maybe make it so these guys regenerate on a short rest. What I mean by regenerate, I forgot to tell you this, but if they die, then they're gone. You have to get a new one. Or make a new one. To make a new one, pretty simple. If you want to be mean, you could make it so they have to go and collect resources. Maybe make it like, they lost all the resources, so they're going out for this session, like they're out for the session. They lost the resources to recreate their minions. They're returning to their swamp to get more stuff. And that's basically how it could work if they're out for a session. Something else, they also have their wall form. Basically, the wall heightens their AC even higher. Like, maybe you could double their HP if you're nice. But basically just a wall. Can't move. Just one thick wall. They have to be pretty close. But you could also make it be flavored with thorns. So now, the person who attacks the wall, even if they fail, they still take thorns damage. Of course, 1d8. Pretty low amount of damage. You can also make it 1d4. Like, if you really want to hurt your players, 1d4. Nice, 1d8. Then you also have your turret. Like four thorns. Anyways, thorns coming out. and just like shoot those. It has a low-ranged thorn attack, but higher damage, and they basically lose that -3 for a +1. So more damage up on that route, maybe make it a D12, since no one gives those things love. 1d12, maybe a d6 if you're mean, but higher damage, low ranged like a shotgun, but it has, it can't move like the wall, but it has really high damage, so, yeah. Get 3 turrets, like a singular line, where all 3 turrets hit. That could be dangerous. But on to their special rule. Their special rule in HAPS, like, if you want to use them, you can also use the special rule. You could just make it so it's a bonus action to use these puppets, or maybe after the turn if you want to hate yourself, but there is something you can do. You can make it so your action and their action are the same. Like, if you can't do anything, you can pass your turn. They don't do much, you can pass their turn. Once you get into high levels, it takes a lot of time. Like, you have 20 whole puppets you can use. Second level skill could make it so they only have to use a certain amount of puppets. Like, 3 puppets per group. Like that. Or you could just destroy the amount of puppets they have. But that really takes away, it's a puppeteer here. The more masterful you get, the more puppets you can control. Like, you may have them on you, but it's not like at low levels you can control them. And you could mix the actions. Like, you know how the actions are right after yours? Well, if you can only do something, like after your puppet does something, well then what's the point of that? You basically lose an action. So you fuse said actions. And you can even make this where you go with your teammates and fuse their actions with yours. Meaning they can take their long step while someone in front of you is still thinking about what they're gonna do. Or maybe they do one thing, and then you take your action, and they're, oh, can I do something else? The friend's already taken their action, but since your actions are fused, yeah, take your action. It's gonna be fun. And while it can draw this out a bit longer, it can actually shorten battles. I tried this out once. It really shortened a battle that could have taken hours on end to a fight that took, like, maybe an hour on its own. Isn't something to brag about, but hey, pretty cool action. Shortening. Give myself a pat on the back for that. Anyways, you get the point. It's to shorten the action. Now, yeah, again, I don't know why I made these, but introducing the soulsters. This is a ladylike name, soulsters. It sounds like a person sewing. Like, oh my gosh. Like someone sewing the sole to a shoe. A soulstress. But, anyways. Oh, right, yeah, I forgot to tell you. There's cursing in this. I think if you watch my channel long enough, I curse a lot. So they're fucking OP. Also, I'm gonna tell you the rule right now. Intelligence equals soul stat. This is something taken from FNAF, in a sense. Like, you know, FNAF and such. In their series, they talked about, something where, oh, well, you don't really have a soul, per se, but your memories become said soul. It becomes your remnant. And memories, I wonder what stat is purely for that. It's right here. Yeah, they're really OP. They have a soul stat basis. Their hit dice, 1d10 plus their intelligence stat. Yay, a reason to have an intelligence stat. Soul magic, different system means it's gonna be different from the normal magic you're used to. So I wanted to put a spin on things and create an entire list of spells. I'm not gonna tell you them, because I haven't made it yet. But, basically, you have an entire list of new spells to use. Like, it goes up to 5th level, and you just get a new set of spells each time, but after 5th level, you start filling it out. Well, you can't get every spell, you can get a good sum of the 1st level spells, maybe a pretty good amount of the 2nd, a pretty small amount of the 3rd, like 1 or 2, level 4, and purely one new thing you're gonna get with level 5. Another thing, they are completely separate no matter how high your level is. Your beginning stuff stays the same-ish. So, there's like gonna be a dot on the side. You can check mark it, fill it in. But what that means is that your stats will change. Like, from a 2, like, each one gets themselves a certain amount. So, the skill has a maximum of 2 uses? No. It goes up to 3. It goes up to 4. It goes up to 10. For your more used stuff that's useful. But at starting level, you will learn this is basically Barbarian Rage, but worse. So, remember, have your attack stat up. Like, for 1st level, but once you're out of 1st level, still have it up. Like, once you use your ability, it doesn't do anything. At 2nd level, it's completely useless while you're using it, but as long as you really, you're out of your, form, you're out of your rage form-ish, you basically lose all power. Until you can punch things well, or maybe you want to use an actual sword. But I'm just going to list the skills that you're going to be forced to use, and maybe some other things. First off, intelligence skill, soul stat, you get the point. Some of these spells will use your soul stat on top of it, so it will take an intelligence from you, or maybe one of the souls gathering around you. Yes, there will be souls gathering around you, like little demon angel things. Like, one side's chaotic evil, the other's lawful good. Like the holiest person, and the I will fuck shit up kind of person. Okay, this is the episode I cursed a lot in. Is this what happens when you watch Vox Machina? I know it's 16 or older. Yeah, who cares? I skip all the Scantman scenes, okay? And I'm fine with gore. So yeah, I'm good with that. Anyways, you get the point. Soul stat, finally have a use for intelligence. I literally said like a few slides ago. Let's just go back to here. I said a few stats ago, intelligence useless. But, anyways, now it has a use for intelligence. And now, let's talk about them. Medium, you basically have yourself, your souls, and they switch out with your own. I think you've heard of a medium before. Totally think they're fake. Don't really think they're real, but, now they're in the game DnD. Same thing with magic. Parlor tricks thing. Okay. But, nothing else. Well, now that you have yourself your medium, what do they do? Like, what? You're trading out souls. What, is it going to change your entire playstyle? Yes. Each soul has their self, a class, a race, and their stats. 1st level, You only get to change your intelligence and wisdom stat. It's not too much, not too bad, but it's pretty good, pretty good. Well, if you're using magic, which he's using his own, so it isn't really that good. Maybe it means like you go from short brain to tall brain. Just saying. But here's the real power. I talked about class. Now as a medium, you get an item for that class. Of course, you can flavor them a bit more, but like, you have Barbarian Axe. Ranger has a purpose for this Ranger. You get a bow or dual swords if you're really like that. Fighter, basically any weapon other than wizardry weapons. Yes, wizardry is a thing in this. Yup, those stats are useful now, cause wizard, warlock, and other stuff, like, you know rangers, they can use magic at 2nd level and such. Yeah, bam! Now you can too, but at 1st level. Cause, yeah, basically it's a 1st level superpower of yours that only works when you become it. You gain really low spell slots, and you only really use your cantrips. Shoot, that's just the warlock, but worse. It's basically what it is anyways. But you get the point. Pretty low. Then corruption, or overtake. Basically, you become part that creature. You are a tiefling here, and one of your souls is a dragonborn. Oh gosh, you're gonna now become part dragonborn. Oh gosh, you're going to gain their special powers. Yeah, your DM gets to choose, but you gain some of their special powers, as well as their strength and dex stat. You may have charisma if you want, but I'm gonna go through this even quicker at this point. Now, for 3rd level, you gain the power to involve someone's soul into an item based for them. At 4th level, you're going to have an item. You're going to have those items gain more power. At 5th level, on the other hand, you're going to gain astral projection. I know this is an actual spell to project yourself to the astral plane. Yes, it is. It's a 9th level spell. I think some of you have heard of it. It's a necromancy spell for some reason. But you're not just going to project yourself to the astral plane. You're basically going to do this for any astral plane. Basically, if you want a soul from the astral plane to return to the real plane, you can take it and take it back to their body, as long as it's regenerated enough. Other things like that as well. They're really overpowered once you get to at least 5th level, because now you can even res yourself. Yes, I mean you can full on revive yourself if you die. Gosh, that's a lot. But yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for listening. Like, sub, if you want. Really like these episodes. I really like making them. Well, bye. This minute, I'm gonna get it to 20 to the